I've had people say recently that because of the multiple wars that are going on around the globe right now, if you look at Israel, if you look at Ukraine, what's happening with Russia, people say that we are potentially in the worst of times. If you look at China for the potential to take over Taiwan.
It could end up blowing up human civilization, which I love so much. And naturally, I hate getting anywhere near. Imagine coming at life with the basic attitude of grandfather Munger and grandfather Ingham. How little I want to see human civilization blown up when it's been so hard to get it where it is from where it was. Of course, I don't want it blown up.
You worry about that right now?
Yes, of course I worry about it. You out of your mind. I don't spend too much time worrying about it because if it's something I can't fix myself, I frequently put it on something I call my too hard file. And then I just don't think about it. So I would say atomic war is in my too hard file. I think we're near. I know we're nearer than I like being right now.
Charlie, Warren Buffett has said that he could fix the budget deficit problem in Washington by simply saying that any member of Congress couldn't be eligible for re-election if the national deficit was more than 3% of the GDP.
Yes, that kind of thing has been done in some places that have gotten enough trouble. And it has worked. It isn't that it can't physically be done. He's certainly right about that. It can be done. Whether it will be done, neither Warren Buffett or I can tell you.
But is that the proper situation? It's just setting up the right incentives?
Well, we may come to a place where we simply have to, where we mismanage to the place where it's obviously we have to go back to something that's more like Adam Smith, and just take the inequality instead of the poverty. I like inequality a lot better than I like poverty.
I mean, is this modern monetary theory that's gotten out of control at this point, do you worry?
Of course, modern monetary theory was a level of indebtedness which in the past would have happened only during a war. Mm-hmm. Can now be routinely created to avoid any kind of unpleasantness from some families getting squeezed by hardship at the very bottom of the economic order. I'm not sure the whole damn system works when some families aren't being squeezed at the bottom of the economic order. That may be our path to civilization, and maybe the only one we've got. In that case, we just have to be financially responsible whether it feels good or not, even whether it works well or not on a temporary basis. Maybe we just have to do it. And that may come, by the way.
I mean, the most recent news is that there was an 87% increase in the U.S. cost for borrowing money over the last year. Interest rates are high,
yeah, but
they've
they've come down to ridiculously low levels.
I was going to say they're high, but not high historically.
Well, talking economically,
yeah.
When the English consul didn't lose purchasing power way back in the 1800s, early, 2.5%. Where did we get the idea that every endowment should get 5%? 5% real, 2 or 3% inflation. That was written in the stars. I do not think it's written in the stars. We may have to do something so unpleasant that it looks like we're bringing back. When the Chinese said to the Russian peasants, earn your own grain by farming your own farm. Mm-hmm. And if it fails, it's your problem, not mine. Which is what they said. That was a hardship lesson at the time. It happened to work. It looked like a hardship lesson, but it really was an invitation to plenty. It was say, eat this spinach and it'll really be good for you.
It's capitalism, and you've said all along that capitalism is the best system.
Well, it works. if I like your little medallion and you like my $7 wristwatch, and we trade them, I may think your little medallion is worth X, and you may think my little wristwatch is worth $7. And we may work out some kind of a trade, but they just, well, if yours is worth $1,000 and mine is worth $1,000, we both made $1,000.
Right.
Because that's the way we value them, and this voluntary exchange doesn't cost the government anything. The GDP just goes up by $1,000, and I just think it stays. I'll exchange my watch for your medallion, and there's nothing else that will do that except capitalism, and do it automatically. You need capitalism plus somebody that creates a sound currency that uses a medium of exchange. When you got those two things, now you and I can have a simple system of exchanging watches for medallions. And we both want to do it. It's something we can do. And it's just, that was the stuff that somebody like Ron Fuller, he was interested in that stuff. Mm-hmm. And in seeking out to make his own work more meaningful, he tried to understand it. And I could see him struggling with it. And it was early in the history of economics as a discipline when this was going on. Now the main ideas had been discovered. But the main ideas had not been discovered in the law schools. I mean, Lon Fuller was one of the very few people who had some vague understanding of how economics interwove with law. And of course, it's the combination that helped me do as well as I did in life.